Hey guys, welcome. I'm Profits from Profits.tv, bringing you tutorials that cover the new sandbox MMO called Albion Online, which is currently in closed beta. I'm going to walk you through several tutorials, several videos. I'm going to be on my site. It's youtube.com/ProfitsTV. So here we go. Upon first logging into the game, you'll realize that you're at the character selection screen where you can actually pick avatars on your left. You can go through various different types of avatars that you can pick based upon, I don't know, you can kind of get a look and feel of, from the avatar, what type of person you're going to be playing. The gender selection is at the bottom, so you can quickly switch between male and female. And let's say in this tutorial we're going to create this guy right here. You click next, and then you get to do some basic changes to skin color, hair, and basic starting gear, or it looks like underwear, as it mentions. We're just going to go through a couple selections here, pick randomly, and see the different types of hair that you can pick. And you're going to go through hair color, beautiful. Get the beard going on there, awesome. Underwear, what kind of underwear you want? It's a fashion statement in this game, so here we go. Let's do a little Tarzan style, there it is, perfect. Underwear color, there it is, nice. You're going to click next. You can also do a randomize, so the randomize just basically does what it says. It's going to randomize all these customization features that you have. Once you get a good look, next you can enter your name. We'll just enter Bravo. Click create. If the name is already taken, as in other MMOs, you'll get a quick response saying a character has already been selected. Trying to pick something that's never been used before. So here's your guy. You're allowed, currently in closed beta, 3 characters right here. So my other main guys are Glod, which is currently in game. He's my crafter. You can see all the gear that he has. He actually literally crafted. Salty Culver is also my mage, which is pretty awesome. You can actually specialize. We'll talk about that in another video. And I have Ravru, which we just did. So we're going to enter world. Upon first entering the world, it's going to go to one of the starting areas that you're going to be starting in. I typically notice that you're either starting on the western continent or the eastern continent, and right now it's up in the air. You can't pick which continent you start on, so I think it might be some form of load balancing type thing that they're doing, or every other guy gets sent to a different island. So here you are. You're kind of just sitting in your loincloth. One of the first things you want to do and notice just from the actual screen display, let's walk around some of the things that you can do. Up in the upper left is very important. This is your actual avatar, and from here, if you left click on it, you'll get a drop down menu. And the drop down menu covers some functionality you're going to be going to a lot. You're going to have an in-game mail, so from the mail section selection, you can actually mail people directly from you guys anywhere in game. Do note that you cannot attach any items or gold. In this game, it's silver. Silver is the base currency, and send to any players is clearly text only. The next is stats, which is kind of cool. So this gives you your stats of currently going through the game. You have fame, you have all these different types of silver that you collected, what you gained from fame from trading players. So it keeps track of pretty much everything you have. Your kills, if you ever died, or your kills to others, your deaths, and then it goes underneath each of the actual crafting parts. So if you go back up here, you can click avatar, and again, as you progress through Albion Online, you get these certain titles that are unlocked, which are basically avatar points, which basically show you your progression in the game. People can easily identify you as, oh, okay, he's experienced adventurer, or so forth. Your rankings are pretty neat. So this gives an point-in-time snapshot of the current people who are actually in-game based upon these selections. So you can pick who's the most famed player in the game so far. And you can do overall this week, last week, and here it is. You can see the rankings. And if you scroll down far enough, you might be able to see your guy's name as you progress. So you can do that with fame, territories, resources, silver, so the amount of wealth. Again, silver is the actual currency that's used in-game. There is a concept of gold, and gold is basically used on the website to buy premium type services, which allow you to get extra yields from whether you're doing crafting or so forth. And you can exchange gold for silver and silver for gold. Do that through a section over here that we'll talk about shortly. You can also do settings. So this is where you definitely do your setting changes. You can do your volumes up and down, change your language. Graphics is where you can do your graphic selection if you want to customize it. Right now I'm playing in the windowed mode, so I can actually move my mouse if I want to bring things into this view as I'm recording. You can adjust in and out just quickly checking these boxes, and it'll change it on the fly for you. The game is where it's really interesting, because here, as you see, as I'm going to show you later tutorials, one of the major cities, there's a lot of people that are actually playing this in closed beta right now, and upwards of, you can get 300 people in a city, and if they all have name tags, it kind of convolutes the screen a little bit. Some people like playing with name tags. I actually turned them off. So here's a name tag of a person right here on the left. I'll show you the difference of how their name tag can be. Somewhere you see them, there we go. So if I go to name tags, notice it's big and it's small. So the big is what it's by default, and it looks kind of cool to see, you know, the big first letter being capitalized and kind of in like an old Celtic type style. But when you see hundreds of them, it kind of covers the screen a lot. But we're gonna uncheck that for now. These other ones I could basically show too. If you didn't want to see people names at all that aren't associated with you, you can check off these two boxes, and you basically will only see your name if you so choose, or you can turn on them and see their health as well. I typically play like this just so I could see people if they're injured, if you want to help them, so forth. So those are the game selections. Underneath the controls are all the mappings that you get initially. Do note for movement, there is no WDSD for movement here. It's all driven by the left mouse button. And you can move it in several ways. You can move it just by left clicking, and it gives you a point on the map that you can click to. You can hold your left mouse button down, which is typically what I like to do. I basically just, you can move it all around very easily if you get used to moving with your left mouse button. And then the other abilities that you have, WDSD is going to be combined to special abilities that you're going to have that are going to be showing on the right side of the screen here. So other than that, you can go to add character player, so you can have the concept of parties. You can add party members to here, and you would see them, their nameplates right next to yours. Chat features are down on the bottom. It starts with general chat and combat. You can alter these, which I highly recommend, because when you start the game, as in any MMO, you're going to see people that are spamming consistently. Probably some things you don't want to see. So especially if you're a younger player or you're a parent concerned, you can click on this cogwheel here, go to edit tabs, and then you can uncheck on this right side what you do not want to appear in here. So right now they're actually talking in global, so I can actually check off global, and that will now filter this chat that's going on here, and you can go through each of them. Sometimes local is sometimes a little spammy. It depends where you are in the city or not. Everything else looks like it's pretty decent. You can keep that as is. Combat log is combat log. You can keep that as you want, or you can delete tabs. If you do certain other types of things, you can do a new tab. You can call it anything you want. Let's say we'll call this loot. Click OK. It will appear on the bottom, and then you basically go through and check off what you want to appear. There is a loot option, so I will check that. So now anytime I loot something, this will actually flash or highlight here and showing me that there's a new message. You can also do lock window. By default it's locked, which means you can't resize it, but if you do want to resize your chat window, check that box. It creates a little arrow, and you can make it as bigger or as small as you want. This is the smallest it goes by default. I kind of like making it smaller myself, just so it doesn't take up a lot of the screen. There is an option too to auto hide chat, and this basically, if you check that off, it will eventually disappear, meaning if there's no activity in your window, you'll see it actually fade away. And then as activity comes up, you'll see it actually come back to your window. It'll show you that you can respond or not. Like this such. All the chat is done through a driven command. You can either use your mouse, click here, and these are all the types of chat transmissions, if you will, or channels that you can talk in, from a whisper, emote, say, party, alliance, local, help, recruits, trade. And the only thing that you have to do is you can either click on it if you want to talk in local, and then type whatever you want to say here, and it'll come up in in the chat for anyone in the area to see it. Or you could partially hit the enter key, type /G if you want to talk in guilds, and then you can type whatever you want right there. So enter / and whatever the shortcut is. Local is L. test. There it is. Moving on into the upper part of the window here, you have premium status, and this is where I talked about buying your premium status, which gives you basically these types of benefits, which you can buy from either gold or silver. And again, these are not pay to win type features, but just gives you some flexibility and some bonuses in game to do that. And again, these are the percentages. These percentages do change, fluctuate based upon the economy, which is actually awesome. And this game is a complete player-driven economy, meaning you cannot go to a NPC and buy a sword or a shield or staff or your mage. You actually have to go to the market house, buy it from the actual player who listed it on the auction house, or through trade, do that such. Or you can craft it yourself, which is an amazing part of the game as well. But there is no NPC interaction in regards to selling items. Completely player-driven. Your gold market is again where you can exchange gold for silver and silver for gold, and again lists some ways you can acquire silver in the game. Silver comes I don't want to say pretty easily, but you actually will get a pretty decent amount of silver if you are into the crafting systems. Even at a minimum, raw resources you'll realize that sell pretty dominant, and we'll talk about that as we get into playing the game and probably in the next video. You actually get pretty excited about the gold or the silver that you can acquire. Backpack is this shows your characters, your inventory slots. Currently I have nothing. Shows your weight system. There is a weight system in the game, meaning if you have so much weight on you, you will then become encumbered, which affects your movement speed. There are mounts in this game, so you'll eventually be able to get mounts and ride horses or oxes or donkeys and so forth, which gives you additional benefits to carry more weights or to move faster. It's pretty exciting. The details, if you want to get into the detailed parts, you can kind of look at your low level stats, if you will, other than just looking at your basic inventory. This is your bags. You got some pretty good space when you first start out. Fills up fast, you'll see pretty quickly. Here's your guild. If you are in a guild, you have your guild message that are here. You can create your own guild, and you can see it's not too expensive. You can create your guild. You can have a concept of your own guild island, which is kind of like a zoned area only guild members can come to, or visitors. You can have your own personal island as well, all combinations such. Then you have your building. You can actually build buildings on your island, so you can actually have an island that's filled with whatever type of crafting, farming type that you like to do. You can actually become kind of like a self-sufficient seller of crafted goods if you want. Pretty amazing. Moving to the bottom is your map. The map isn't scalable. They just have a small inclusion right now. You can actually go bigger or smaller. That's about it. North, west, east, south, where you currently are on the map. We started at Western Beach. Press K is your full map. Moving your scroll wheel in and out, you can actually scroll in and out. So this is where we are, and it's indicated by your actual red arrow that's pointing down on the map. If you zoom all the way out, you can see that the area, look down here in the bottom right, this is the continents. We started on this continent, and there's a full other continent, but it's loaded with zones they can go to. So this is a very extensive world map that you can actually explore to. And each of these areas indicate various resources that are available, different things you can do, such as dungeons. There's a concepts of guild versus guild wars over territories, PvP zones, plenty of things you can actually get involved. So if we go back to our part, again, K is the world map, M is in map, is your local map. So we're on Western Beach, and this is where we're at, and this is the local map that's currently available. Where I'm currently at, and it shows you from a cluster info or from a resource standpoint what type of resources are available in this map. This will become future as we talk about the crafting and specializations in a further video. It shows you some technical information in regards to people who are concerned about frames per second or the ping rates and so forth. Those details are right here automatically. You have people that are the concept of what's called friendly and hostile. So currently we have 5 friendly people that are in this map zone that we're currently in. If it was hostile, it would be shown in red with the number that's indicated to it. But right now we're going to focus on the first aspect that you should be thinking about, and this is this bottom part right here. It's attached to what's called the Destiny board. And this initial part is the initial part of, you want to call it like task or a quest that you actually need to do to get you familiar with the game. So it tells me from a beginner wood gatherer, I need to gather 3 rough logs. And then this indication right here, which looks like a kind of ribbon, is actual fame. So if you want to know further what this looks at, you can click on the eye, and it's going to bring up exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to become a beginner wood gatherer. To unlock this, so you need fame, plus 10 fame. You need to gather 3 logs. What we're going to do is we're going to click on these trees here. Again, you can move with just clicking the button or holding the left mouse button down. Notice as you move your mouse over various resources, they become like an axe. This shows you that you can interact with it as a gathering resource. If it goes over a sword, over the item, then you can attack it. So we're going to click on this. Notice that we're gathering 2 of 2 logs, rough logs. I'm going to click on this tree again. Now I have 2 logs that are in my bag. So you can click I or here. Shows you, yes, I have 2 rough logs. And the progression bar at the bottom begins to move. So we need 1 more of the 3, and we'll see what happens. We gained so-called proficiency, which is beginner wood gatherer. We got that plus 10 fame. Fame is driven throughout this entire game, and it's actually like the points you'll need to acquire to become proficient in craft skills and combat skills, farming skills. There's a ton of different skills that you can have in this game based upon your destiny. So we completed that. Now it's telling us to gather stone. Looking around, I'm like, well, where's the stone? I'm going to go further on down here. And again, this is the zoom in. You can zoom in and you can zoom out. This is your max camera view. You cannot change the rotation of the map, perspective of what you're seeing. So here's some stone. So I'm going to click on the stone here. I need 3 of the stones. So we gathered 1, 2. We're going to keep clicking on it, and then we become what's called the beginner stone gatherer. We gain that proficiency. Plus 10. Now it's telling us you must craft a beginner skinning knife. As you progress through the game, you're going to realize you're going to be interacting with these NPC crafters, if you will, that allow you to basically craft various tools, weapons, based upon your armor type, repair your weapons, salvage them, re-roll the stats on them. There's going to be tons of information that we'll talk about in another video about interacting with NPCs. But for now, you can see it turns into a cogwheel. Basically, your interaction tool between quests, items, and so forth in the game. We're going to click on this, and then we give a workbench. The workbench has 3 tabs: weapons, armor, and tools. Weapons, armor, and tools. Here we need to craft a skinning knife. So that would be in the tools section. Beginner skinning knife, click on it. Then you have some buttons that become available. You have resources, what it takes to actually craft it, the stats of it, if there's any spells that are associated with this type of tool or weapon, and then you just click the craft button. Now we're a beginner tool maker. We've gained that fundamental skill to be able to do that, create tools. Now it's telling us to kill a rabbit. Here's the rabbit. Run over here. There's a couple again you can do. You can either click on it like this, or you can run to it, then click on it. But as soon as it becomes the sword, actually kill something. Let's go away from these trees so you can actually see, slice up this rabbit here. It is. You can click on it and just move your mouse and it would run to it. But we killed it now and become a beginner hunter. Plus 10 fame. And now it says we need to gather rabbit hides, 8 of them. So the cool thing is we have a skinning knife. Everything is pretty much harvestable or gathered. So I'm going to keep doing that. And notice as I can do anything I want with, once you start through these basic tutorials of skills, you can become anything you want. Let's say I want to focus just on becoming a lumberjack. Then you can focus on just chopping down trees and working with the trees. If you want to become a master skinner, then you can work on killing animals and getting different types of hides, stone mason, pickaxe for ores. Right now we need to get a bunch of hides. Some resources gather quicker than others. You can see I can just keep clicking on this bar and it gathers pretty fast on the gather bar. There I am with the scanner proficiency now. And again, these initial quests, if you will, or tasks, I'm going to call them tasks because they're not really quests, gets you to become proficient in the fundamental crafting that's available in the game. Gathering skills, like that. So here we need to create leather armor. So this underneath the armor tab, when I click craft. So here's the cool part of items that are in the game. These are what's called spells or abilities that you can have when you actually craft this leather beginner leather armor. So if I click on the first one, notice there's only one skill, which allows me after combat to do a heal on myself. It's called Mend Wounds. And then this last one is the one I can actually make this armor unique in the way of how I'm going to play the game. So I have 3 abilities that I can choose from. The first one is a movement speed. The next one is resistance to movement impairment effects. And the next one is CC, so authority to be able to do crowd control. So because I'm kind of like a leather worker to start with, I want to do a speed boost. I'm going to click on that. I have my spells that are in place. I can click craft. It's going to make me a beginner armorer. And then notice it automatically equips it over here. Great. As you become fully equipped and geared, you actually go to your bag and then you'll have to left click it, equip it, or drag and drop to make that available on your character. And now it says we want to craft 1 beginner's broadsword, but while we're here I want to see if I can craft other types of armor to get a full set of armor. Let's see if I can craft more. And notice it's in red. I'm 2 of 4 of rabbit hide to be able to craft my hood. I have to go out and kill more rabbits to get a full selection of leather armor on me for head and feet. But following the guide here, let's go to beginner broadsword. I need 6 rough stone, which I'm lacking. Notice I can't create it. It's green. I completely have those resources in my bag to craft it. If it's not completely not shown at all, or if it's a red bar, you either have none or partial. I'm going to close that out, and I know now I need to kill some rabbits, get the hides from those, and then I need to get some stone. And again, notice the resources are gathering pretty quickly. As you gather resources, notice my encumbrance or my weight system is going up. Currently I'm at 9%, now it's at 10%. If you reach 100%, then you'll get a message saying you're weighted down. Your movement speed will be affected. We're just going to deforest and take all the resources in this area real quick. Currently in closed beta, resources spawn at 300% than normal. So you notice I just gathered these stones over here and they're already back. That's just for beta testing. When it actually becomes the full game, which I think is going to be out of beta, out of closed beta that is, in I think it's February of 2016. Can currently buy into the beta, buying what's called founders packs, and they have 3 tiers of it, ranging from $29.95, which is the veterans pack, which I'm actually using, $49.95, and then $99.95. And it actually gives you different types of abilities and resources in game to start with. But the veterans pack seems like it's efficient. I'm not lacking anything that anyone else would have that's not accessible or gainable in the game. All right, so we crafted a bunch of, we gathered a bunch of things that are here. So let's go back to this guy. I want to go back to armor because I want to see if I can craft a full set of armor. This is the first that's there. I'm unstoppable. And then I want to do a speed boost on it. So craft that. Speed boost now, 5% and 5% on my helm and my chest. Now I'm going to do the boots. This is an automatic flee or run that you get. They can use every 7 seconds, which is pretty neat. And here, because I'm starting with, you can either do a speed boost. Again, you can do resistances. You can do crowd control. Or as you start off, I recommend doing a courier, which is going to increase the amount of weight that you can carry. This is going to be important until you get the ability to be able to get an ox or a horse, which allows you to deal with your weight situation when you're carrying a lot of resources. So I'm going to pick courier. craft these, and now it gives me the boots. So I have a full set of armor now. But now I need to actually create that broadsword that it mentions down here in the bottom. So I'm going to click this. This is the ability that you get, which is a heroic strike on your broadsword automatically. Craft. Now we become a beginner weaponsmith. So notice, as I mentioned before, if you already have something that's equipped in gear slots, like I have a skinning knife, in order to use the new weapon that I have, you have to left click on it, equip it. Now I have that equipped. I noticed there was a shield too, so I want to click on weapons again, click here, and then I want to craft the shield. Now I'm fully equipped as far as a starting character that's concerned. The cool thing about this game too is it comes with different quality of items. So if I bring up my inventory, you notice that everything's based upon a tier, or you can consider a tier like the level of that gear. And it goes from, in Roman numerals, 1 all the way up to 8. So this is starting gear. You see all of them are Roman numeral 1. So this is basic starting gear. You can click on the gear and it gives you again the additional information that you can have. Here is. Notice that the quality is down here. This quality that I just crafted is called excellent. Notice in the corner, you should be able to see this, but in the corner, left corner, notice that the corners will change based upon the quality. Like this is a basic quality. You look at this triangle right here, if you will. There's no quality, so it's a basic quality or normal quality. If I go to this one, notice that this is kind of like a bronze cover, and it kind of looks fancier than this corner to this corner. So I just crafted a masterpiece quality item that's here, and there's multiple quality items from normal to, and it goes up from the type of quality you can create, and they're all basic percentages that you can get, but it goes all the way up to legendary. And we'll talk about that as we get into the crafting video, but just a real quick that it does give you additional benefits. They do sell more, and they are more worth value, and the actual stats on the item does change based upon the quality. But notice my other items too have a different than normal, so if I click on those, we can see down at the bottom that they're all excellent quality. Excellent. So this guy has some really good starting gear that I did based upon luck, basically, that I crafted those. So now we need to craft a beginner pickaxe. Basically going through here, pickaxes are underneath the tools. I'm gonna do a pickaxe, craft. Now I start Novice Adventurer. Now it's telling me to gather T2 resources worth 2,400 fame. So again, all resources on the map are based upon that tier, or those Roman numerals, which is the value or the level of that item. Resource perspective. From a real quick perspective, if we click N, or click down here in the bottom, it's your destiny board. N, then Nancy, or destiny board down here. And this is your total scope of what your character can do in the game, whether you're specializing or you're trying to master certain types of combat skills or certain types of crafting that you want to do, or gathering. These are all down here you can do, and you can see it goes all the way out, and you can either master one branch of these, all the branches, or this entire board, but it's all based on fame, and it will take you a while. So I would recommend specializing. So just covering the board real quick, the center is what your guy is. You start out as a novice adventurer, and then this vertical line that goes up is your adventurer status. So as you gain fame, you can click on it, and then you become different types of adventurers, which kind of gives you the crest up here, gives you unique avatars that you can use, and they all require fame. So I'm 0 of 9,000 fame required to get to that. And go to adept, goes up to expert, use your eyes into master, grandmaster, and then of course the elder. Again, notice they're currently in gray right now, but notice that there's you want to call it like feathers that go around the adventurer status as you progress up. So the quick ways when you see people's avatars, oh, that guy's a master adventurer or a grandmaster. On the bottom is kind of what we just completed, which is the basic fundamentals of each of the different types that you can do. Weapons, armor, Skinner, and it goes all the way down. Just covers the basic fundamentals to start you out with gathering the level 1 or tier 1 type resources that you can use. So your adventurer status, and then your craftsman status in basic line. Then you get to branch out. You have these major symbols here that branch out the rest of the game, and they're basically starting with trainee fighter. All your combat skills are on this side. It's kind of like in a reddish brown right now. So this is your basic fighter trainee that you get. And then from there, you can specialize into different types of armor and different types of weapons. So let's say I want to be, because I'm in leather armor, I want to kind of choose the bow or the hunter status. You can start working on your fame to use that. And then you can go out into different various proficiencies or masteries within that to gain even further skill. I can become a bow fighter, and then there's 10 levels of mastery in this first tier of bow fighting. If I wanted to go further, specializing in this one line of bow mastery, I can go to the next tier as you gain, and then become a war bow fighter with 10 levels of mastery between. Mastery levels give you, as you can see, different levels or different weapons that unlock to that type of talent or that type of mastery, as well as damage and statistics. Moving further to the outer tier, longbow fighter, which 10 levels of mastery with that, and that's going to be your ultimate line of your bows. But the cool thing about this game is you don't have to just be a bow fighter. You can say, okay, I also want to become a journeyman warrior and branch out into melee weapons as too. So once you do one path, it doesn't matter. You can become a master of all weapons and start leveling tier to tier, tier to tier. That will take a long time. So I would recommend kind of stick to 1 or 2 basic type weapon types, and then move forward into the trees until you become a master of those. So swordman, I can continue to become a broadsword fighter, a claymore fighter, and then all the way down is the actual glaive fighter, which is the outer tier mastery, and it has 10 levels of mastery in that. So these are your combat skills, which also include armor. You can become a heavy armor fighter. Then from there, you can branch out into the different types of plates that are available. Those specializations, you can have the leather, light armor, cloth. You can keep going from there. So combat skills, everything in relation to combat. And then at the bottom here is actually your farming type skills. So you can farm in the game, and the farming types are from alchemy, herbalist, harvester, seeds and so forth, and then cook. You can actually cook and make those things. And then the tools are the various types of tools that are in the game that you can actually have to gain these resources to work with the crafting part that we'll be talking about up here. And those are your basic ones, from a lumberjack to a quarrier, all working with stone, to ore miner, your animal skinner, and then of course fiber harvester, which uses a sickle, and that's where you're basically going to be gathering cotton, flax, hemp, all those types of fiber to create cloth type items. And then there's various masteries within the tool. So just because you have a beginner mastery in stone, pick the stone, doesn't mean you can craft every type of stone that's in the game. So you have to gain masteries to unlock various resources that you can acquire as you progress through using the stone hammer. So there's a concept of, you get to crafting, that you can become a crafter, but doesn't mean you have the proficiency or the combat skills to use it. So just because I can craft it doesn't mean I can use it until I gain those proficiencies by actually using that. So let's say I craft a sword. Doesn't mean that I can use the sword until I actually get into combat and start killing things with the sword, and then I start gaining my combat level. So there's the concept of actually becoming a pure crafter if you want. If you just like crafting, you can craft the items in the game and sell them through the market house or through trade, or you can actually become dual role, if you want to call it that, where I actually craft my own weaponry, and then I become proficient in using that weapon. So that's a pretty cool concept of the game if you think about it. Not only do I have to become a master of using a tool, and crafting it with its own skill, but also becoming a combat expert in that as well. Pretty awesome. And then if you go into the craftsman, there's various parts of the craftsman's, from Warforge Crafter, which are your weapons, your Hunter Large, which is your missile weapons, kind of used by a hunter, your Mage Tower, which is used by your warlocks or mages that are in the game, your priests, Lumberjacking Refiner, which is used by all those different types of resources you can gather with gathering resources into planks and so forth. So as you go into different levels of proficiencies, you can start refining different types of resources in the game, or pure combat. I have one character that can't craft anything. I buy everything through the auction house, and I'm basically just focusing on becoming an adventurer, going out, gaming, or gaining my fame through killing things, or gaining my silver through drops from monsters that I'm fighting in caves or across the land. I'm basically going to the auction house and I'm buying them from a craftsman that has the ability to craft the tier that I want. So that's basically your destiny board. You do have these concept of points that you have to buy into as you gain proficiencies. You'll learn it as you go up into levels. You'll have to spend these points, which are acquired over time as well, on the different types of skills that you want to learn. See them going up here as you go up into different skills. So these do replenish over time as well. So that's your destiny board. Click N to get out of it, or N to get into it, or you can click the destiny board down here with your mouse. So now it's basically telling me to gather T2 resources worth 2,400. So from here, it's just a matter of going out and exploring the world. So gathering these types of resources that you have. Again, if you click on your eye map, use the symbol up here for your inventory. You can tell that these are all type 2 or type 1 resources. We need type 2 resources mentions. We need to go further and actually explore the world to be able to find type 2 resources. And everything that you see is pretty much harvestable. You can't fall off cliffs, so don't worry about that. You can't cross rivers. You have to find bridges built across those. It's kind of neat, so you can't accidentally fall off something. You can't traverse across mountains and so forth. You have to either follow a road or a path through the woods to be able to get to there. But the type 2 resources to start with are like foxes or different types of stone if you travel to one of the major cities. I'm going to show you the first of the major cities right now, and that will conclude this video for the introduction and character creation. The map is down here. Anytime you see one of the actual directional symbols is typically in yellow, it shows you that there is a map, or there is a path to the next zone. In this case, it is an city. So this is your starting city. Notice that the zone loads pretty fast. It doesn't slow down. So again, using the M key on your map, it shows you the different types of shops that are available in the city here that can go up to these different types of resources. So you have your weaponsmith, you have your cloth person, you have your bow, you have a person that has horses. By the way, you can actually raise, through farming, raise your own horses, raise your own oxes, raise your own animals if you want to go into butchery and so forth. The trash symbol is where you can reforge, repair your weapons. This symbol right here is obviously the market. This is a chest, which is a global private chest just for you, that you can use just in this land here. The chests are not linked per area or per town. They're individual, as well as the marketplace economy is individual, not linked or not global. There's a smelter. Here's your cloth. You can come in as well. Leather, wood, stone, and then tools. Any of these, if you're unfamiliar with, you can click on it, and then in the bottom left it shows you what it is, the type of ability that it can go to. So you can craft up to tier 3 type resources. Like this one can go up to tier 4. So we just started out, so we have some resources in our bags. We don't know what to do with them, and then we can go into here and use your bank storage. Again, if you open up the map with K, it's only available in here. So if I store stuff in here and I travel to this city over here, I cannot access the resources, vice versa. They're completely local. Notice I'm in this area now. I'm into type 2 type resources, which I need, which is awesome. So I can actually gather type 2 resources just in this town if I want it. Then you have the interaction with NPCs. Again, let's go to this smelter down here. There's a type 3 smelter that I can proficiently go up to bronze in this area. So I have some, I actually don't have any in my bag. But if you were to mine nodes, which is right here, this is like ore. It would be a little bit larger than this. You'd see the actual iron ore like rising up out of the nodes themselves. You can go along and visit the different shops based upon the resources that are in your bags, and you can create or refine, if you will, the different types of items you have. Woodworker, actually stone mason. If you gather stone, you can actually do that. But we'll talk about in depth about that in another city or another video. We'll get into the deeper parts of the major cities. This is a smaller city. If you press K, this is a smaller city that you start with. Port cities. You can start at randomly, I guess, any one of these. But if you zoom out, each one that you're attached to has a major city within the area. So this major city would be Kingspool. Click on that, you notice it's a lot bigger. A lot of shops, and again, all these shops are player-owned shops that you can go to and leverage them, craft your items with. Where these beginning cities are run just by NPCs. These are like the basic things to get you started. Notice I can't buy anything from any of them. I can go to here, to weapons. I can't buy them. I have to craft them. So that's it for this beginning introduction to Albion Online. It's really a fascinating game. If you guys like, it's a cross-platform MMO sandbox style game that's reminds me of Ultima Online, which is awesome. You can actually do what you want and play your play style, whether you want to be a mage that's in plate, casting fireballs in people's faces, or be a ranged warrior. You can do pretty much any type of class combination that you want. And there is no concept of leveling per se, so my character doesn't get like level 100 like in some MMOs. You just have the level of masteries that you're using based upon your play style, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about the different types of buildings in another video, so the auction house, the repair guy, but that's basically your introduction to the beginning of Albion Online. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, click a thumbs up. I will be creating further videos, and I'll be kind of breaking them down into smaller video sizes. Instead of an hour long, they'll probably be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes max. Thank you very much, guys. I'm Profits from Profits.tv. Take care, happy adventuring, and hope to see you in Albion Online.